Friends, today we are going to discuss about culture and seed production of freshwater finfishes and shellfishes. Aquaculture in India has shown a phenomenal growth during the last 2 decades. The freshwater aquaculture has been the major contributor of the country's aquaculture production with a share of over 95% in terms of quantity. 3 Indian major carps, namely Katla, Rohu and Mrigal, form the most important group and contributes a lion's share of the aquaculture production. 3 other domesticated exotic carps, namely silver carp, grass carp and common carp, are the second important group. In an attempt towards diversification and enhancing farm income, high-valued catfishes and freshwater prawn species were also brought into culture system recently. Now let's see the criteria for selection of a candidate species for culture. Selection of a species for stocking is one of the prime factors which determines the success of any cultural operation. There is no ideal fish satisfying all the desirable qualities for maximizing production. However, the selected species should satisfy maximum criteria for increasing the production rate. Some of the criteria considered for selection of candidate species are: the important ones are rate of growth and the size attained, the fishes with shorter food chain, that means fishes which utilize the base of a trophic. The other one is adaptation to climatic conditions, hardness of the animals, availability in space and time, reproductive behavior and fecundity, larval development, compatibility, feeding habits, food conversion efficiencies, and finally the market demand and the economic factors. Now let's talk about the design and construction of a fish farm. Suitable ponds are one of the most important prerequisites in the success of a fish culture. Enough water of desirable quality, impervious soil of suitable type, and land of satisfactory characteristics are the important aspects which ultimately decide the fish farm design and construction. Now, the size and shape of different ponds for nursery, rearing and grow-out systems and their number are decided based on the requirements and the contour levels. The preferable sizes for nursery and rearing and stocking ponds are 0.02 to 1.1 hectare for nursery, 0.05 to 2.2 hectare for rearing ponds and 0.2 to 2 hectares for the stocking ponds. The ponds of rectangular shape are usually preferred because they facilitate easy netting operations and easy management. While designing the farm, water supply and drainage facilities should be provided. In scientific composite carp culture, 3 exotic species like silver carp, grass carp and common carp are incorporated along with the 3 Indian major carps. Now, depending upon the provided input levels, carp culture can be categorized as low input, medium input and high input systems. Feed is the main input in an aquaculture operation. So, the low input culture system includes fertilizer based, sewage fed culture, biogas slurry based culture systems. The production is mainly contributed to natural fish food. These systems are also called extensive culture systems. In medium input systems or semi-intensive culture system, production of fish can be enhanced from a unit area considerably with the provision of supplementary feeding. But in the case of intensive culture or high inputs culture system, high inputs like high stocking density, aeration, water exchange, circulation, biofertilization and feeding with balanced formulated feeds are required. Now for a scientific carp culture system which involves 2 main components. The first one is the seed rearing and the second one is grow-out culture, where the seed rearing is further divided into rearing spawn to fry in a nursery and rearing fry to fingerlings. Nursery system, the important steps for preparation of a nursery ponds are aquatic weeds and their control. These aquatic weeds are microvegetations which restricts the movements of fish and limits the living space for the fish, which interfere the netting operation, and it absorbs the organic nutrients in the water body and also prevents the penetration of light, thus restricts the phytoplankton production in the pond. The other important aspect is the control of predatory and weed fishes. Control of predatory and weed fishes is one of the primary activity where predatory fishes are harmful to the culture species. Not only they compete for food but also for space and also directly prey on them. They also greatly affect the dissolved oxygen levels of the pond. In nursery pond management, nursery rearing involves nurturing of spawn of 3 days old for a period of 15 to 20 days. During this period, they grow to a size of about 20 to 30 mm and known as fry. Small water bodies of 0.02 to 0.1 hectare with a water depth of 1 to 1.5 meter are preferred for nurseries. Concrete nurseries of size 50 to 100 meter square with 1 to 1.2 meter water depth are also used for nurseries for high density rearing. Preparation of nursery ponds before release of spawn is an important step for successful rearing of carp spawn to fry. Preparation of nursery ponds include removal of aquatic vegetation, control of predatory and weed fishes, prior to liming, fertilization, aquatic insect control, etc. In case of concrete tanks, all these steps are avoided due to filling of filtered seawater just 2-3 days before the seed stocking. Occurrence of large-scale mortality of spawns stocked in unprepared nurseries is a common problem. The ponds are limed after removal of unwanted predatory and weed fishes depending upon the pH of the soil. However, the dosage of lime application is reduced when either bleaching powder or combination of bleaching powder or urea is used as a pesticide. The ponds are enriched either with organic manures such as cow dung or poultry droppings or inorganic fertilizers or both, one following the other. Manures can be applied as a phased manuring method with a mixture of groundnut oil cake, a cow dung and superphosphate, which is shown effective in the production of desired planktons. Now let's see the stocking of spawn. After 3 days of hatching, when the yolk is completely absorbed, the mouth is developed, the spawn is ready for stocking in nurseries. Stocking densities of 5 to 10 million per hectare is a common practice with the survival levels of 30 to 50%. Higher growth and survival for both Indian major carps and exotic carps can be obtained by rearing in earthen ponds at a stocking density of 3 to 5 million per hectare or in concrete tanks at a rate of 10 to 20 million per hectare. The spawns are transported to nursery site in open containers. Then we have to condition the spawn before stocking in the nursery ponds. Stocking should be preferably done in the morning hours when the temperature of water remains low. Now regarding the supplementary feeds in a nursery, mixtures of rice or wheat bran and groundnut or mustard oil cake at a ratio of 1:1 are commonly used for raising fry in nurseries. The feed ingredients are powdered, sieved to obtain a uniform and smaller particle size and mixed thoroughly before use. The quantity of feed provided is 4 times of the initial biomass of the spawn stock per day for the first 5 days, followed by 8 times the weight of next 10 days. The feeding is done twice a day. In case of nurseries, the feeding method followed is usually the broadcasting to ensure the feed are available all over the water surface. Now water management and harvesting in a nursery. The physical chemical conditions of pond water needs close monitoring to prevent losses due to sudden fluctuations in pH, poor oxygen condition, higher ammonia concentrations, increased levels of toxic gases, parasitic and microbial infections. The fry from a nursery are harvested generally after 15 days of rearing, during which time they attain a size of 20 to 25 mm. But in some cases they are harvested after 10 days, especially when smaller sizes of fries are required for stocking. And normally before harvesting we are not providing the fry with the supplementary feed. So rearing pond management for fingerling production. Raising fingerlings in rearing pond is the second stage of rearing seed. Fry of 20 to 25 mm in size are grown in these ponds for a period of 2 to 3 months to obtain a fingerlings of 80 to 100 mm size. Preparation of rearing ponds includes removal of aquatic vegetation, eradication of predatory and weed fishes, liming and fertilization. Pond fertilization includes application of cow dung 1 week prior to stocking, followed by fortnightly application of equal doses. The fry are stocked at the rate of 1 to 3 lakh hectare per hectare in earthen ponds. A mixture of groundnut or mustard oil cake with rice bran or wheat bran are commonly used as supplementary feed for rearing these fry. The feeds are provided at the rate of 8 to 10% of the initial body weight during daytime during the culture period. In ponds, care must be taken to keep water level in the ponds and water quality parameters and natural plankton concentration within the desirable levels through periodic climbing and fertilization. Fishes are evaluated periodically, especially during sampling with respect to any parasitic or microbial infections, and suitable preventive or curative measures are taken if required. Harvesting is done after 2 to 3 months of rearing period, during which the fingerlings attain a size of 80 to 100 mm. The rearing period can be extended when the desired size of fishes are bigger. The objective of a grow-out pond management is to obtain higher production of fish in shortest possible time with a reasonably low capital investment. Ponds of rectangular in shape with size ranging from 0.2 to 2 hectares are usually preferred for grow-out farming. Fingerlings of 100 to 150 mm in size are the best stocking material for grow-out ponds. They can be stocked at a density of 5,000 to 10,000 fingerlings per hectare. Several combinations of Indian major carps and exotic carps or these fishes alone can be stocked in different stocking densities to maximize production. In grow-out pond, supplementary feeding using rice bran or wheat bran with the groundnut oil or mustard oil cake at the ratio of 1:1 can be used. Feeds are provided in a duff form, mostly in trays hung at different depths in the pond. Feeding is usually done in 2 equal rations, that is during morning and during evening. The feed is provided at the rate of 3 to 4% of the body weight per day during initial months, which is reduced to 1 to 2% at the later part of the culture period. Day-to-day management of ponds is very much important for a better production from the culture ponds. Low oxygen levels and high ammonia contents often incurred in higher biomass make the fish susceptible to disease outbreaks. Periodical health monitoring, at least during the fish sampling period, helps timely detection and diagnosis so that immediate treatment measures can be taken. Fishes are usually harvested at the end of 10 or 11 months of culture. Harvesting is done effectively using drag nets, though complete harvesting is possible only through total draining of the pond. Now let's see the other species used in farming. The first one is a freshwater prawn. Among all the freshwater prawns, Macrobrachium rosenbergi and Macrobrachium malcolmsoni are the commercially important ones used for farming. Rearing of these prawns are used in 0.1 to 2 hectare ponds with a water depth of 1 meter. A 50,000 fingerlings per hectare are stocked in these ponds for grow-out, and harvesting is done after 6 to 7 months of rearing. The other culture method is integrated fish farming, where 2 or more normally separate farming systems are integrated together, where the waste from one subsystem is utilized for sustenance of other farming system. Apart from finfish culture, mussel farming, pearl oyster farming and pearl production, seaweed farming, marine ornamental fish farming, lobster fattening, cage culture are the viable aquaculture operations practiced in the country. Now let's have a glance through the breeding and seed production of carps. Indian major carps do not breed naturally in small confined waters, but they breed in rivers, reservoirs or bunds type tanks in presence of flowing water conditions. Among the environmental factors, light, temperature, water condition are known to play important roles in stimulating the release of pituitary gonadotropins and thereby controlling the reproduction of these fishes. Consequent to breeding during monsoon months, these fishes seed can be collected from rivers and used as a source of stocking material for cultured pond. Bund breeding. So bunds are special type of perennial or seasonal tanks or impoundments where riverine conditions are stimulated during monsoon months for breeding of Indian major carps. There are 2 different kinds of bunds known as wet bunds, or seasonal bunds are called dry bunds. Induced breeding of carps. in hypophysation, homogenized pituitary gland extract was injected to both male and female breeder at predetermined dose at predetermined time. After second injection, both the injected males and females are kept together in a breeding hopper or breeding pool for spawning. Generally, the Indian major carp spawn within 6 to 8 hours after final injection to the breeder. Fertilization of eggs takes place externally and the fertilized eggs are then transferred to hatching hopper or hatchery system for rearing. In breeding program, selection of proper brood decides the rate of success of a breeding performance. Usually a breeding set consists of 1 female and 2 males. The dosage of pituitary extract to be administered is decided depending upon the fish body weight, ripeness of the gonad and prevailing climatic conditions. The fishes are injected either by intraperitoneal or intramuscular injection. The brood fishes are selected for injection are kept either in breeding hopper or in breeding pools. The injected fishes are soon put back to the breeding hopper and for breeding pool for spawning. When you look into the case of common carp, in the case of common carp, both matured males and females are collected and kept in breeding hopper, but here they are not required to give any injection. Certain quantity of aquatic weeds like hydrilla, najas, etc. are to be provided in breeding hopper for attachment of sticky eggs. Breeding takes place in the night and the spent fishes are removed on the next day morning and fertilized eggs are allowed to develop. So friends, I am sure you might have understood the topic discussed here today, and if you need any clarifications, please visit the Manage website or course material provided by Manage. Thank you.